the Eagles, they start the year 10. That's the amazing thing to me. It's not even, they started 10-1. They look like Super Bowl contenders. They end the year losing 6 of 7. Does it all fall on Nick Sirianni, or is it the coordinators that everybody's talking about?
It's a combination. I mean, the coordinators are two of the worst coordinators in football at this moment, and it's not even close. And you could go on both sides of the ball here, but offensively, what has happened to this team? And defensively, you switch from Sean Desai to Matt Patricia, and you can tell the guys have not bought in by effort level. And what we were watching right now is missed tackle after missed tackle after missed tackle. I have never seen anything like it in a playoff game, Jay. You go from, if you watch the football games yesterday, you're watching games where everyone's fighting tooth and nail. You tell me when you watch this effort level, this tenacity. It doesn't exist. And to me, that is a direct correlation to your coordinator not motivating the guys. And not only are they not motivated, I mean, Baker Mayfield came out here and just did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. His numbers were incredible, and they tied the NFL for most drops. Imagine if they caught some of those balls. I mean, if they catch a few of those balls early in the game, Baker Mayfield throws for 450 yards in this game.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment because they have talent on this team, and you leave Sean Desai towards the end of the year, and you go to Matt Patricia.
Yep.
And his fingerprints are all over this thing. And what do you see? Terrible play calling. I mean, some of the worst defense I've ever seen in my entire life. And now you can't even tackle?
Well, and how about the offense? I mean, the offense today was – do you think – it's funny because Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were talking about it. Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, not afraid to fire people. Fired Doug Peterson just a couple years after he won a Super Bowl. Do you think it's possible Nick Sirianni's not the head coach of this team?
It's extremely possible. There's no way that the coordinators are back. And there's definitely a way where Nick Sirianni's not back because the roster, and let's go to the offense. Offensively, on paper, it is the best offense. Maybe you could sit here and say the O-line versus San Fran, but it's 1-2 with San Fran.
Right.
But you got A.J. Brown, you got Devonta Smith, you got Swift at running back, Gainwell, the backup running back. Hurts was the leader of MVP at one point of the year. The O-line is stout. Dallas Goedert's a great player. Like, you have no weaknesses across the board. Mm-hmm. And what were they doing today? There's no identity. There's no fluidity. Usually you try and mirror concepts. Hey, we're going to run this. We're going to roll a play action off this. Nothing. Nothing is going on. It was one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen.
And you saw on the sideline, if you watch the game, a lot of Eagles players upset at Jalen Hurts, seem to be upset at him, chewing him out on the sideline. Hurts on that 5-year, $255 million deal this past offseason, second in MVP voting last year. We talked about it. At one point he was leading. He was a front runner for MVP this year. Where do you go with this guy? What do you do with it? He's not tradable now.
He's not tradable, and what is worrisome is the processing of football. If we get into some of the X's and O's of what happened here, you look at the Bucs defense this season, they were third in the league in blitzes. You knew the blitz was coming. And what happens here? Look at this play. The blitzes come from the right. You know your unblocked guys on the right. You have two guys there. Bam. You should have hit that. Okay. Again, this is cover 0. We have no option for this. Now we're going to keep rolling here. More pressure, more blitzing. We got nothing. And the problem is, and here's another one, they bring a pressure. Dallas Goedert's wide open here. We're going to throw the flat. It's 3rd and 5. Doesn't work. And we talked about Baker Mayfield, okay? And the opposite happened towards the end of this game. This play right here is an all-out pressure by the Eagles. And what did Baker Mayfield do? He had the protection set up correctly. He knew exactly where to throw the football. If you look at the reel we just watched with Jalen Hurts, a lot of those things that happen are the minute details pre-snap. As a quarterback, you need to set your protection up, and you need to know that, okay, if they bring this blitz or if this guy comes, I know exactly where I'm throwing the football.
Right.
So a lot of this you can say, yeah, the offensive line didn't block well, which is fair. They did not block well today. But in the same point, the protection was consistently off, and when they have 5 offensive linemen, they bring 6 rushers, Jalen Hurts has to be able to process that and know where to throw the football. But instead, he's lost. Now, is that Jalen Hurts? Is that Brian Johnson not communicating it, the offensive coordinator? You don't know. But across the board, it is an epic failure from an X and O's level.